They're doing very strange experimentation. There are beings from portals coming in and out.
Beings coming in and out of portals.
Yes, they have apparently in the bottom of the stern this portal, this door where they are dealing with all the subatomic dimensions.
She's not the only one talking about this. If you've seen the latest video, you know Dan Burish has been saying the same thing.
They are from the future, 45,000 years ahead of
45,000 years ahead on a separate timeline than what we are presently on.
People from the future coming through open portals. I can't even wrap my mind around it. And now, to hear a CERN insider saying it out loud. But here's what's more disturbing.
When you look at what is going on in the CERN, there is a fight from some of the military agencies. Intel, they say that there is a fight on time. They're trying to change time.
Trying to change time or changing timelines. The cornucopia was there. Tinkerbell did dot the I in the Disney intro. Pikachu's tail had a black tip, but now they say it was never there. And there are dozens of examples just like this, and every single one of them messes with my head. Lately, I feel something is off, something is wrong with time itself. I can feel it, and I know a lot of you can feel it too. I have this feeling that time is broken. It passes too fast, even if I stay and do nothing for an entire day. Okay, I know there are some scientific explanations for that, but what about the Mandela effect? How do you explain that? This is why I had to make a part 2. To put it all together, this CERN insider talking about portals and beings coming in and out, this feeling that time itself may be broken, the Mandela effects, and all these unanswered questions and doubts about what CERN is really doing. While researching this video, I came across someone named Frank Jacob, who says,
I thought I'd do an impromptu report on something which I think is giving people a lot to be concerned about. The investigative journalist Miriam Hanine recently published an article entitled "Concern Erupts Over Portals, Particles and the Large Hadron Collider."
So I followed the link shown below, and surprise, it looks like the article was deleted. Interesting. A journalist writes an article raising concerns about CERN, and the article can't be found anymore. I searched everywhere on their site. Nothing. But I did find it eventually in the web archive, and what it said shook me more than I expected. Let me explain what was in that article, because this is where it gets very, very interesting. All of this comes from the investigative journalist Miriam Hanine. First, you need to understand what's happening at CERN. It's very important. 10 years after discovering the Higgs boson, the so-called God particle, CERN's Large Hadron Collider started smashing protons together at energy levels we've never seen before. Their stated goal? To reveal more secrets about how the universe works. Let's talk about what this machine actually is. The LHC is the world's largest and most powerful particle collider. It's a circular tunnel, nearly 17 miles long, buried 574 feet underground along the border between Switzerland and France. After a 3-year upgrade, it was fired back up in April 2022, and on July 5th of that year, it began a new experiment running 24/7. For the next 4 years, at a record energy of 13.6 trillion electron volts. That's slightly higher than its previous record. They'll collect data, then shut down again in 2026 for another 3-year upgrade, before starting up once more in 2029. The price tag so far? $9.2 billion. The process sounds like science fiction. They take 2 beams of protons, the particles in the nucleus of the atom, and shoot them in opposite directions around this 17-mile ring at almost the speed of light. Then they make them collide. These collisions are recorded by massive detectors with names like Atlas, CMS, Alice, and LHCb. Thousands of scientists will analyze the debris, hoping to find clues about dark matter, dark energy, and what the article calls other fundamental mysteries. And almost immediately, they started finding things. Early in Run 3, CERN reported the observation of 3 new exotic particles. The article explains these could help reveal how the most fundamental building blocks of matter, called quarks, bind together. One experiment, called Alice, wants to study a state of matter known as quark-gluon plasma, a superhot soup where atoms melt away. Scientists believe this was the state of the entire universe just a fraction of a second after the Big Bang. Another, called LHCb, studies the beauty quark, and this is where things get strange. The beauty quark is key to understanding the difference between matter and antimatter, their opposite charged twin. When matter and antimatter touch, they annihilate each other in a flash of energy. The Big Bang should have created equal amounts of both, but it didn't. Our universe is made almost entirely of matter. That imbalance, as the article plainly states, has no explanation. We exist because of a cosmic typo that no one can explain. In 2018, CERN scientists figured out how to trap it and transport it from one facility to another. The amount they moved, according to the article, had an energy equivalent of about 20 Hiroshima atomic bombs. The research here is mind-bending. They're testing whether antimatter reacts to gravity the same way matter does. This is a fundamental question. If it doesn't, it would break one of Einstein's core principles. Recent results, the article notes, show that within strict boundaries, it does fall the same way. But the search continues. All this research leads to an even bigger idea, one that feels like it's taken from a sci-fi book. The article quotes a theory. Let me read that part directly from the article. Though it may sound like science fiction, if extra dimensions exist, they could explain why the universe is expanding faster than expected and why gravity is weaker than other forces of nature. The search for extra dimensions is not science fiction. It is a legitimate, active area of research in theoretical physics. CERN's stated mission is to search for evidence of them. But then, the article makes a pivot. After laying out this high-level science, it states, unfortunately, the public is not fully aware of the full potential of CERN as it relates to interdimensional communication. And from this point, the tone of this article shifts. It moves from reporting on science to examining symbols, rituals, and unanswered questions. So please, stay with me. It gets really, really interesting. It mentions CERN's logo, which some say contains the number 666. Founded in 1954 by 12 European countries, CERN later expanded to more than 20 member states. It is also where the World Wide Web was invented in 1989. Then, it describes an event in 2016, a ceremony for the opening of the Gotthard Base Tunnel in Switzerland. That ceremony was very weird. I won't go into details here to keep this video safe. You can look into it later if you're curious. The journalists directly connect this to CERN's activity. The last time CERN was turned up to full capacity, strange things happened around the world. The Earth's magnetosphere was affected, and an unexplained spiral was observed in Norway. Then it asks the question, point blank, is there a possibility that CERN opened an interdimensional portal? What are they really looking for? To answer that, it brings in a voice from the other side, a researcher named Sophia Kay, whose brother is a quantum physicist who worked on the collider. She addresses concerns about CERN, telling, "This isn't an episode of Saturday morning cartoons. Sorry to disappoint anyone wanting to test the event horizon theory, but I think we're stuck here in this time zone for a little bit longer." She explains things in a simple way. Before the LHC was built, there were many theories about particles, but there was no method to test them outside of a computer simulation. It's very difficult to prove that certain particles actually exist. Our theories assume they do. Because of the LHC, scientists identified the top quark and the Higgs boson. These discoveries opened a new understanding of our cosmos. Particle acceleration allows us to test the fundamental nature of matter and reality. Sophia then addresses a common concern. She mentions Planck energy. This is a fundamental limit in physics. The Planck energy is a quintillion times higher than the maximum energy of the LHC. The following section has the title Black Holes and Portals to Hell. It mentions that many people distrust CERN. Regarding black holes, two particles could create a microscopic or micro black hole if they collide with energy above a specific threshold. Sophia presents the mainstream scientific position. The prevailing theory of gravity does not predict that a black hole can actually be made this way. Any competent physicist will tell you it's impossible. It would require a total abandonment of physics, quantum field mechanics, and logic. However, CERN's own official channels acknowledge the collider might produce black holes, not the kind found in space. The official position states black hole creation is very unlikely, but they allow for the possibility of tiny quantum black holes. According to sources referenced, such a black hole would decay harmlessly into ordinary particles. CERN states that observing this event would be a major discovery. They say it presents no danger and would be perfectly safe. The stated reasoning is clear. The creation of a black hole at the LHC would confirm theories that our universe is not four-dimensional, but indeed hosts